some kind of transition between Medit and normal land maps. So let's see how that's going to work out. And well, player is going for Zeus. Again, that's 5 Zeuses and just one guy, Sensui, going on Ranos. Yeah, that's one of those games yet again. Hopefully we won't see that much of a lag, and well, Zeus Bolt is not useful in the first minute of this map, and well, it's not like anybody would be using it anyway, because they don't really have a reason to do so at this point, and well, we see that the first to spawn at the bottom is right now Sensui, the new player that is replacing Xenia, and let's see if that will have some impact on the performance of TSMs. He's right now moving with his villager into the middle, so he's going for a water, and it seems like everybody on this map is moving for the water here, and well, it seems like he will be very close to his ally Fan, who is already in the place, and player on the left side also. So everybody going for the water. This is how the map looks, just a big pond, or rather big. It's a rather small pond actually, with quite a lot of fish and a lot of ground on the sides as well. So it's not kinda needed to go for the water, I would say. And if you go for fully land build, you could be just as fine. But everybody on this map opts to do the water build here, and well, we'll see how that will work for them. Some extra Elise at the back and some first relic also. That's Caravan's cost and speed. That's pretty useful. Another relic here with 20% myth unit crush armor, which is pretty nice, and we're probably going to see a Colossi here in this game of the Zeus mirrors, and well, another extra elephants, which are going to be pretty nice indeed, as they are protected from the water by the tree line, so shouldn't be under attack anytime soon. But Fan as a pocket for the TSMs is already gathering quite a lot of hunt from the extra gazelles, and well, otherwise he doesn't see all that much extra. We just have seen the extra berries and the elephants on the right side. Some extra berries are here also for player, the third player from TSM to have a look at, also already gathering from the gazelles at the top and having quite a lot of berries around him, but he would kind of prefer some extra hunt, which is right here with the elephants. Alright, otherwise extra TC, it seems like, oh, extra TC, extra relic, which is gold trico, alright, that could help, and the TC position seems to be pretty much fair. Yeah, I don't really see any problems with it whatsoever. Yeah, this is reasonable position, reasonably defensible. The hunt here hidden inside the forest, that's pretty nice. There's some nice clearing in the forest here on the sand. And well, on the right side, Sensui's TC is slightly worse position than players, sorry, because players will be slightly strategically more important as it's middle of the part of the land on the left, but on the right it's really close to the wall, which leaves a lot of the map here kind of open. Otherwise, a lot of hunt here that Sensui has already discovered with his aggressive scouting. He's sending his oracles inside enemy base basically, so Recon will be quite well scouted at this point. And well, let's have a look at the battle for the fish here inside the small pond. So everybody is very nicely positioned at this point with nice docks, and I would kind of think that player might be wanting second dock around here to protect this 3 spot, as it's pretty important. And well, otherwise he seems to have kind of lost the lottery with having everything farther behind from his dock. Otherwise it seems pretty much okay for everybody else, so let's see how this will develop, but it shouldn't be having all that much of an impact on the map here. The first to have a look at from AoL is Recon, who is already building a temple, because we are at 3 minutes, going for the standard hunt build without any problem, as all the other guys. And well, do we see some extra at the back? Just some goat and extra gold, extra berries, and I'm kind of expecting some elephants somewhere as well, giraffes and whatnot. And well, the elephants, they are just going to be hidden somewhere in the darkness, possibly here. Such a good spot for them, and probably really will be there, because this map is spawned quite fairly, and I don't really expect any problems with that. Now, this relic could be pretty important for the later game, because if I remember correctly, in all the games so far, we have seen quite a lot of towers. So that will make a difference here, and well, middle for AoLs is Iron Maiden, and he is already advancing through Hermes, 27%. And the third one is going for Athena, 30% Berserker on the left side, who will be against his nemesis player at this point. Going for a very heavy echo build on the water, it seems. So he might be thinking about heavy water. Yeah, second dock already. Second dock for player as well, and yeah, in a position that we have expected. Second dock for Fen, for Sensui, Recon, and last one, Iron Maiden as well. This is going to be super compact water battle at this point, and the restorations are going to be super crucial for actually making the difference here. So first Athena is for Recon, he is the first to advance. Sensui will be slightly slower, which is maybe unexpected. He is the Oranos. Berserker and Iron Maiden also advancing, and this is going to be one Athena for Fen, and player is going Hermes as well. So double restoration against just one. So let's see how that's going to develop, and this is really going to escalate really quickly into some huge water battles. So Sensor is the first to be picked at by the water battle here, and that's because he is slow to advance just now and almost win some boats up finally, and he is being protected by his teammate Fen because they are pretty close to each other. On the left side, it seems like player is being attacked by Berserker, but he will be forced off this point because, yep, this is not really a good place to fight, and I'm really seriously curious how this fight will develop because there's really not that much room for maneuvering, and it will be very easy to actually triple your opponent and retreat back to your position and 1v1 again the guy on the left side. So we have seen some first bolt from Berserker to actually push the battle inside player's favor, or inside Berserker's favor, and well, this is just countered by player who has retreated slightly for the reinforcements, but still, it should still be one extra boat for Berserker, and let's see if player will even the battlefield by using another bolt here. Well, so far though, we have seen the use of double restoration from each team. So TSMs are right now out of restorations, and well, AoL still have one, and it could really help them win the battle on the right side and the proper double. And maybe player might want to do some shenanigans, but at the same time, they don't really want to draw all the guys at the same spot, because that would be just water on the mill for the AoLs, because they would be able to use restoration with some supreme effectiveness. That's not anything that they want. Otherwise, on the land, looking at the minimap, I don't see really any Raiden whatsoever. I just see some curious green dots on the left corner. This is probably going to be Kataskopos with some goats waiting for Underworld Passage, which is going to happen. And well, otherwise, blue dots from player, maybe trying to raid something with his Centaur, quite possibly. And still some more green dots from Iron Maiden on the right side of Sensui's base. At this point, it seems like that AoLs are getting slightly ahead, as Sensu is getting kinda hammered by Recon's army here, and moving on the left side, it seems like that player is still not able to actually recuperate from the one extra lost boat, but with some proper micro he could be. He is building a third dock to actually build some defensible position, which is very good idea, as it's going to help him and still allow him to basically gain back the position without the one extra boat. It was just still the one bolt from the Berserker used, no one else used it. And pretty huge army from Berserker right now, but not really anything less from player who is having 12 boats, and this is 14 boats for Berserker. So the advantage is here, and yeah, player needs to make use of the right side of his docks. Right now though, Sensui is heavily in defensive, his 3 docks, which is also a pretty nice position, and well, same goes for Fen, who is also forced to retreat, and it's somehow developed into 3 1v1s on the water, which is pretty curious, but this is finally what I was looking for. This is the first nice attempt at some strategy and tactics, because it means that all 3 TSMs are converging at one spot, and this fight was pretty nice in helping Fen somehow even the battlefield and take Berserker by surprise, because he wasn't expecting that at all. Right now it allowed player the size, or rather smallness, of the pond to actually retreat back into the battle quite soon, or return into the battle, and well, really, Senso is the one who is getting picked on here, because he is having the worst boasts here, and he can't really even use the extra help of the fastness, or the speed of his boats, sorry, for my English at this point. Well, it seems like Berserker was thinking that it was a pretty good fight to use the restoration. He's right now at 19 boats, full health. Player is at 18 boats. Surprisingly, also almost full health, so it seems like the restoration was pretty much wasted at this point, which is slightly disappointing for AoL because that was a trump card, and they definitely could have hoped that it might have turned the game around in their favor. We see on the land, though, some switches into land. Second TC for player, Berserker is already having it, and second TC for someone else. Not yet. I don't think so, if I'm looking at the minimap correctly, but well, TSM Sensui is right now kinda trolling around, just riding, trying to raid some extra boats, but he is not really successful. Right now he has just run out of water and also run out of thoughts to do, so he just paused. Which means that we have a bit of time to look around, with Recon having quite a decent army, and it seems like the TSMs are maybe recognizing that the water is lost, as really, since we can't really keep up with the power of the Greek boats in this really short span of water, and it seems like AoLs might be heading into the victory on the water, but I'm really seriously thinking, wow, what the hell is this? That's so many boats. That's so many boats at one spot. I'm not sure if I've ever seen this. I'm just going to take a screenshot of this. You don't really see this all that often, and this would have been also great and powerful for restoration. But yeah, that's not going to happen at this point. And the battle is most definitely won, and yep, TSMs are hammered here, but really, just to finish my thought, I don't think this water is going to be anything important in this game. This was just for the fun, to be honest, just for the fun of playing a water map. Because you're just going to win a few fishing spots here, but it's still going to be about properly capturing the land and transitioning faster than your opponents and doing it well enough. So second TCs are also for Fan and Sensui, who is going for a front one, and with a pretty good reason, because he knows he has already units ready at the forefront that Recon is not really going for it, and Recon right now trying to wall up, so unfortunately he will probably notice this Kataskopos from Fan, which is bad news, but this one is already waiting here quite well for an Iron Maiden, and I think he will find use. So Fan as a pocket is going for a 30C, which is a pretty good idea, as he is in the position to go for it, and boom, like an insane man. And I'm just waiting for the time when player is going to develop for a 30C himself, because Berserker is, and he's already going for a raiding himself, which is not really strong, but the Minotaur together with Jason could be just enough to potentially stop a TC or something like that. It seems though that Sensu is really taking this seriously, going with his army on Recon, who is right now still, oh well, he already is at 2 TCs, he has captured one at the back, of course, and he is already moving into army as well, because he's having triple stable, so he will be right into the raiding, and well, tough luck Sensui, you are just a bit late. Second TC being built for Iron Maiden as well, and at this point it's just going to be a race of time for whoever actually is able to boom the best. Yep, these guys are just now controlling player and to see when he's going for a TC, so that's just goodbye Willy, especially with these hyenas here. So yeah, that's not going to be an easy town center for you, and yeah, that was really sloppy from you, as you should have kind of expected that something might be happening here, and you definitely have to hope that you send all those Willies back, because otherwise you don't have anything at all here. Come on, careful, careful, careful. The Kataskopos is not a problem. This guy is, well, not anymore, but this hero could be a problem. And the hyenas don't really help, but he could be able to take the hero with just the villagers, but it would be at some losses. And player is actually forced to go for a ceasefire, and it's kinda... you might say that it's not really needed because the army wasn't strong enough, but it's basically so that he doesn't lose any extra villies, and more importantly, so that he isn't slowed, because he right now knows that a Berserker is at 3 DCs, he doesn't have time to spare, and he needs to hurry up with his boom. Everybody though is at safe of their TCs, safety of their TCs. The water is, yeah, pretty much done. Just a huge amount of boats from Berserker and Iron Maiden just trying to kill everything. And right now it's a pretty good spot for a player. That's a good idea to build some extra walls, or even though they probably aren't going to stay for much longer. So everybody just going for extra TCs. It will be 3 TC Zeuses on the left side and also on the right side. You can see that Oh, Sento is actually trying to steal a TC from Recon. Well, that's a little surprising and actually a pretty good idea because it seems like Recon is kinda behind this a bit. Yeah, he's just now not really paying any attention at all. He's unaware that his TC is being stolen, and since we have quite a decent army here, and Green, even though he is helping on the right side, he is not having an army yet. Sensui will be able to steal it. He will be able to steal it, and he will be at 3 TCs. And yep, there will be still one free, and it's not in the line of sight of his opponents for Underworld Passage, so it's reasonably safe so far. Right now, Sensui is not really interested in engaging his opponent, I think. Right now, he will at least discover that Green is here, so he will need help from Fen. And well, Fen is already moving in with some extra military buildings, military academy, and archery range, and also a villager to finish some extra maybe towers, maybe military buildings extra. We'll see. Some extra walling also going on. Still not really giving up on the water. Probably maybe going for something in the Heroic Age, but Berserker was the first one to advance into Heroic, and well, player is right now trying to wall as much as he can. There is also a way through, so he better be careful about that, so that he isn't surprised by some nasty attack, and it seems like Berserker is far ahead of him with army here, and yeah, since he doesn't have absolutely anything, he has just 4 units, and well, Berserker has a pretty huge army at this point. Well, that's not really boding all that well for his opponent, because at this point I would guess market is being built, yes, and that will result in pretty fast mythic from him also. Well, that's that. Some raiding going on from Iron Maiden on the gold villies, but the units are just not numerous enough, and even though they killed one of those villies from Sensui, they are right now being punished, and well, Heroic Age from both Recon and Fen should be the one as a pocket to somehow counter what Berserker will be doing, and also what Iron Maiden will be doing. Let's check at him. Well, not advancing yet, but he is having some kind of army here, and right now Sensuido will be facing a double army against him, even though he is at 3 TCs, which means that Recon will be forced at just 2. He right now needs to defend as much as he can, because he cannot lose this TC. This is their bargaining chip of actually winning the game, I have to say, at this point, because AoLs are ahead in the ages. Was he just deleted? Probably. He was probably just deleted. Okay, there was probably some thought behind it. I'm not really sure about right now. But yep, that just happened. And right now I'm going to check on Berserker, who is 40% into Hephaestus, and Fen shouldn't be far behind if they don't want to lose this game sometime early. Alright, he is 15%, which is very nice. And since we're going for 4th DC, that's... Oh... At this point, I'm not all that happy about it, but he is probably having enough resources to go for it and also switch into Heroic, or rather into Mythic, because he is Heroic, as he has built his market already. So that's a signal that he might not be far behind with all that he wants. It's kind of curious that TSMs are not really preparing to actually scour the back of their bases, because right now they need to take care of this, because if they do, it could help them immensely, and those 2 Hippicons are right now going to stop the TC from coming up. Okay, they don't. Not unfortunate, but they have so low line of sight that they didn't really see that, and they will be hidden there just from the Underworld passage, and Iron Maiden is through Heroic as well. Well, Berserker is into Mythic, Heroic 4 player, so he will be fighting a pretty bad battle, and he is already fighting a battle that he can't really win, because you can see that Berserker is having already heavy hoplites, whereas player is having just normal units, and he is losing villies here, and yeah, he doesn't have the correct units here. And finally, he's at least microwaving with this Odysseus on the Manticore, but same is finally happening from Berserker as well. Okay. And the battle is pretty bad, and he's going for some kind of draw, basically just on the fact that the TC fire is here. So we have some extra advances from Fen, and also extra heroics for everybody. Some extra raiding from Recon, who is together with Maiden stopping since we're from building the TC. I'm not exactly sure why we are just sending extra villies. Why we are sending extra villies when you have units here? Just a horrible thought right there from Sensui, sorry. and he is going to pay for it because he's going to lose all 3 units here. All 3 villagers are just going to die if it's properly microed by AoL. Because they need to run away in pretty bad fashion. And well, this one, Catapultis rather. Well, Sensui, you're going to pay for this. At any rate though, he is doing pretty well in the forefront because he is battling 2 players by just himself and he is not doing half bad about that. But Recon is also into Mythic as his player, but he has lost a down center player on the left side because he just cannot stand against Mythical Zeus when he is just heroic. And well, it seems like Fan is switching fully onto the left side because on the right side he is not that much needed, as Sensui is doing quite well, and once he is able to finish his TC, he will be at 4 TCs fighting against 5, which is not ideal, especially considering that he's fighting as an Ati against Zeuses, but still, it seems like he's doing pretty well, not having any upgrades whatsoever, but upgrades will be trickling in from his opponents, Recon and Iron Maiden, and that's not something he wants to encounter. So Fan has begun researching the Titans, and they still are in the risk of underworld passages. I'm just gonna have a look where is actually the gathering happening. I would kinda have to guess that somebody is already gathering extra units that he needs for that. Well, it doesn't seem like to be happening at this point. Iron Maiden Mythic into Hephaestus. And, well, pretty heavy battle on the left side, and Fan, together with player, are having their hands full defending against all this. And, well, right now, they should be able to defend it, but still, Berserker has such an upper hand that this game might be slightly trickling from TSM's power, even though it looked pretty promising on the land on the start. Gonna have a look at if possibly player is advancing into Mythic. He is into Hephaestus, 80%. And at this point, well, I was kind of thinking that maybe going for Medusas and Hera might not have been the worst idea, because the stone special power of the Medusa could be a pretty good counterplay on the Colossi. But well, we won't really learn right now. And Underworld Passage, or rather Tartarian Gate, Underworld Passage for the Tartarian spawn, is disrupting the economy for Recon, who is the one who is having not a nice game. And well, let's see how Fan together with Sensui are doing on the right side. Sensui has finished his 4 TC, so he is in a pretty good position right now, and he is doing surprisingly well against his opponents, but he needs to switch his armies. These destroyers are not good enough. He needs to switch into Fanatics, because they are the unit that totally wrecks the units of Mythical Zeus. Okay, some extra military buildings, which is a good idea, because he will be aiming to actually go at the back of this TC, which is a very nice idea. But Fan is probably thinking about it, and right now trying to take care of it and be prepared. So these 2 guys definitely need to die, so that the Underworld Passage does not happen, but it already did on the left side. And well, the TC is almost down, because this is a pretty strong attack, and they don't have the ceasefire anymore, TSMs, and I'm not exactly sure how they plan to actually stop this. Right now, this Underworld Passage though is going to die, because Fan has enough army here, so that's slightly good luck for him. But at the same time, player is absolutely getting hammered, and he has lost yet another TC, and he's just not handling Berserker, who is at 4 TCs. And well, yep, even though this Titan Gate, or rather Underworld Passage, is down, he still needs to kill Maiden's army, and that's still quite ways off before he can help his teammate, player, who is right now at just 1 TCs and basically out of the game altogether, having a lot of idols. And it's up to Sensui to somehow salvage this game from the opponent's powers. He is holding on the right side, Recon by himself. Well, that's not really that much of an achievement, considering he's 4 versus 2 TCs. And it seems like Iron Maiden is not really committing all that many units in here, because he doesn't really need to. It's basically even, and yeah, once Iron Maiden is fully out of this position, Sensui will be facing a proper double. That's not going to be a fight he will really enjoy, especially right now when Colossi are exactly the unit that AoLs need on the right battlefield, as that is a thing that is very hard to counter for TSMs. Yep, that's a whole bunch of Myrmidons, and yeah, we need the Fanatics here, which are finally making an appearance, but still, 1 palace has been killed, and that's another problem for Sensui, because he has just 1 palace here, and he cannot recuperate fast enough with the units that he needs. So that's a goodbye TC, and TC going for Recon. And on the left side, Berserker is successfully stealing the 5th TC. And well, player is going to defend with just one. And since it's a conquest, yeah, you can't really run to Wonder. And even though Fan should be having Titan, I don't think it would be the correct course of action, because right now he needs all the population limit he can get to fight and hold base alive. Right now this is a pretty strong push from AoLs, and Berserker is punishing player as much as he can, especially now right now having the 5 TCs. And well, player is not really having any army whatsoever. You can see that Berserker is fully popped and fully upgraded, and player is having just the baseline, so he is just sending his units to die. And same goes for Fen, who is not having that much of an upgrades either, just mediums. And well, looking at the right side, Sensui has lost the TC. Champion Hoppies with full upgrades, and well, and Yellow Army also baseline, so they are just fighting a seriously uphill battle, and I'm not exactly sure how they want to overcome this. Right now Fen hopes that the Titan Gate can do it, but we still have quite a lot of underworld passages for AoLs, just 2 there. And let's see if they can do it. Oh, of course, triple Pegasi, so that's a goodbye on this Titan Gate, and I kinda have a feeling that once that's down, it might result into a series of GGs. Let's see, because the right side is slowly being lost for Sensui, even though he's still kind of holding. It's not as fast, but the left side is most definitely lost, and that there's nothing that Fen can actually do about that by himself, because player is mostly out of the game. And right now he can't really defend on both fronts at the same time. And well, maybe if they cast Underworld Passage themselves, it could help, but still the Titan Gate is gone. So no Titan for you, and wasted thousands of resources just like that. That could have maybe helped you somewhere else in the resources and upgrades. And yes, TSM resigns, and AoLs win the match, the semifinals 3-1, and advance into the grand finals of Age of Mythology, the Titans Clan League Season 25. And not even Sensui could help them, even though he was playing damn well and the early aggression was pretty nice. The left side just wasn't strong enough at this point. Berserker was faster and did everything quite well. Yeah, Berserker most definitely won this, because the right side wasn't going all that well, and it was kind of poised with how Fen was moving on the right side, that it's going to be double on the right, which would have been pretty fair and possibly going for TSMs if player could hold Berserker, but he couldn't because player was slower. Well, good job. Let's have a look at the post game. Berserker, quite obviously, winning absolutely everything because he had the most TCs. He went into the upgrades and extra TCs as much as he could, and quite strongly. And really, the water, it was just for the fun of the players. Berserker winning absolutely everything here. Absolutely everything. And even at the end, he had such a large amount of resources altogether that he just couldn't have been stopped.
Yes.
Yep, pretty good job, and GG.